Hello and welcome to MinnMax, our weekly community Q&A for $20 supporters. Thank you to everybody that supports us. The final Sunday of every month. It's a hell of a Q&A because it's a call-in community Q&A. We realize this is not the last Sunday of the month, but I'm going to be traveling on the last Sunday of the month, so we're bumping it up. So this is the July call-in episode of MinnMax. If you're at that $20 tier, you can call in and ask me anything under the sun, anything at all, but not just me, because this month and from here on out for MinnMax overall, not for MinnMax, don't worry. Okay. We're joined by Leo Vader!
Thank you so much.
The freshest cohort around.
That's right. My first stream here.
Hello, Starkiller.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Really well. How you doing?
So good.
Good.
Leo, what do you imagine the humidity is in this room?
How do you measure humidity? Percentage?
Yeah.
100.
Okay, correct.
We're treading water right now.
Starkiller, what would you like to talk about?
Yeah, so since you got Leo there, I wanted to ask, talk about comedy. What do you guys have any things you would point to, maybe from your childhood or college or something like that kind of influence your comedy? And since it's you two guys, anything specifically like video editing wise that you've learned from or something like that?
Oh, that's interesting. So editing comedy and video. This is maybe it's cliche on the internet now, but it's one of those things where I didn't realize until the last 5 years or so how much it tickles my funny bone, the well-timed scream cutoff. Yeah. And a lot of it is like Vines, I feel like, or just when that video format started to rise, or YouTube when something starts to go awry and just hear somebody go, "Ah!" and then it cuts up. Always the funniest thing that can happen. And so, video editing wise, I guess that made a big deal on me. It's basically anything except for the record scratch. I guess that would be my sense of comedy and video. I'm so happy I've been, editing videos since high school, and I have never, ever used that record scratch. I've held the line that I will never do it.
Right on. Yeah, I totally am when I'm editing videos and I like to have the music kind of match what's going on, and sometimes it doesn't make sense for the music to keep going with the joke. It's is this too much of a record scratch moment? I'll totally be like, should I have music just so people don't think I'm doing a funny music cutoff joke? I totally think about that.
What about for you, Leo, in general in life outside of video?
Coming up in my high school days, I was really inspired sense of humor-wise by Mega 64, obviously.
Oh, of course, yeah.
People have seen me wear their shirts.
What do you think it is about Mega 64? I just this weekend, I watched their summary of the Cell Saga in Dragon Ball Z, which is just so incredibly funny. But I'm curious, what do you think, what is the Mega 64 je ne sais quoi?
It's tough because it's interesting watching them over the years having kind of a similar amount of viewers. It's like a really committed group, and somehow, even though they're not the biggest YouTube channel in the world, it's all of my friends growing up, all of my friends online now, we all have the shared growing up with Mega 64 experience. I think it's a combination of their sense of humor and the podcast, and the fact that what they were doing is so interesting, of making that TV show that they sold on DVD.
What?
Yeah. It's really a really unique YouTube channel. It's easy to rally around and get excited about, I think.
Yeah, and I still will argue that one of the tightest, funniest videos is their video of first Super Mario Brothers.
Oh.
Were you going to say something else?
Say, why no White Panther?
Oh, no, I forgot about that one. I know, but for the Super Mario, isn't it just Super Mario Brothers? I forget, it's Super Mario Brothers 3 or something more specific, but it's them outside of, I think it's Moscone Center at GDC, and they're doing the usual shtick, jumping around in the streets and stuff as Mario and Luigi, and then Miyamoto comes out and sees them. It's just this weird stare down, and they're look really sad, we realize we're lame. And then that's a fine joke in and of itself, but then it's just that extra detail of another guy comes out behind them, and it's just of his Link, and he sees Miyamoto there, and he gets embarrassed and just quickly walks off. It's that level of, we have a joke, but now we're going to add one more detail on top that's just going to be a quick little capper that's just perfect.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, it's a little bit like your very famous Vine, which you're very well known for.
The Buns Vine.
The Buns Vine, which is in every great Vine compilation where you say, check out the buns on that guy. It's a man covered in buns.
Hamburger buns.
Hamburger buns on the floor. That's a joke. That's a fine joke.
Most people would say, I've made a Vine.
That's right. Then somebody comes out dressed as a cop and says, it's the comedy police.
The joke's too funny.
The joke's too funny. that's a good place to stop.
Great. Send Vine.
What makes it next level is then you raise the gun and say, I'm not going back to jail. And it's a little bit of that cutoff scream effect where it's ratcheting up and then cuts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that was our first take doing it, and I surprised myself with how loud I screamed. But looking back, it's like I couldn't have done a better take of that.
But you felt it, man. That's the thing. You felt it in your bones.
I didn't want to go back to jail. But other inspirations when I was out of high school, like 19 or so, starting my first real gaming YouTube channel, I was really inspired by video game Dunkey.
Yes.
There was a time where I thought he was just the funniest dude on YouTube, and my early videos felt like imitations of him sometimes. And it was like seeing what Dunkey was doing, thinking that looked so fun. That was kind of the start of like, let me do stuff that's like that, and then I'll kind of figure out what my style is out of that. Right. So he was very formative for me.
What do you think is his je ne sais quoi? Just so I can keep saying that word.
Yeah, he's more scripted than he lets on, I think. I think he has actual jokes that come out very fluidly, and even though he records the audio after the gameplay, it still feels live in a way that's very engaging.
And it's that weird thing. I'm guessing if you polled his viewers, 70% would assume that those are just clips from him doing commentary as he's streaming, but I'm always confused about that process. I've tried to interview him, and it has never worked out.
Oh, really?
But I'd love to know more about, like, does he just then go back for that extra pass and re-record stuff to just time perfectly? Like, that idea of making it seem like it's off-the-cuff commentary when it's not is diabolical.
Yeah. It's a good format. People like that off-the-cuff format, but when it's too good to have actually been off-the-cuff, but they don't know and it still feels off-the-cuff, you're in the gold, baby.
That's it. But even, I think he likes to pack his videos full of spoilers, which I'm not a big fan of, but if you know his taste, then that's fine. But there's stuff like, his video on Pokemon Sword and Shield is genuinely like the best criticism or just like summary of the Pokemon Sword and Shield experience of just like, oh yeah, you're just going to fly through this game, complain about how it's too easy, but just like the breadth of footage that he captures, I just feel like those videos are much more time intensive than a lot of people probably would think.
Yeah, I agree.
Because capturing just every game alone, tracking, I want to know like how he organizes that stuff. I want to see his spreadsheets, everything like that. I want to see his sheets. I'm so into Dunkey.
From underneath.
That's right. For me, it's much easier. I don't know. I like The Simpsons as a dumb kid. And then I remember distinctly having a moment of, boy, I wish I found somebody in my school that thought the things that I think are funny are also funny. And then like in 6th grade, I found best friend Ronnie, who was on Final Fantasy VII's Deepest Dive and stuff like that. And those were one of those things of like, okay. Then Ronnie just gave me all the feedback I could ever possibly hope for what I think is funny. And when I feel like I should be validated for saying something funny, he's been the bellwether for everything on both ends, where it's a weird fusion of I just think stuff's funny if he thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, pretty simple. What about you, Starkiller?
Yeah.
Yeah, video game Dunkey. Yeah, definitely, that's a good one. I hadn't even thought of him until you bring him up, because every once in a while he'll put out the video and you're like, oh yeah, he makes really good stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, he's great. For me in high school, is talking about having a different sense of humor. I think it's probably just because of my dad. He would watch all those really old sci-fi movies, and so we would get really into Mystery Science Theater together. Mystery Science Theater 3000, because he would remember the actual movies that he watched when he was a kid, and then we would, of course, enjoy the actual comedy part of them making fun of the movies. And that's, I think that one definitely has given me a really weird sense of humor compared to most people I know, because not a lot of people have actually watched that show, at least around here. So, that's always a good one.
Yeah, I mean that's huge for sure, and it's very cliche now, but I'm thinking about like pivotal comedy moments growing up. One of them was like watching Space Ghost for the first time, just being like, oh my God, this is something that I didn't know I needed. And then another one was, it's very cliche and I'm sorry. And like, he's not going to be listening to this, I don't think, but my dad's a very nice guy and he laughs a lot, but I don't think he's very funny. But for whatever reason, when I was like around 10, he just brought home a VHS of Holy Grail. And he's like, hey, this is the funny movie. You need to watch this. And I'm so thankful that he did, because it really was like a comedically eye-opening experience. I know it's effed out now. Everybody is sick of everything. But like seeing that crap at 10, just be like, oh, you can do this with a movie? Like it really has an impact on you.
Yeah, that was a movie I would watch over and over again. Watch it at night at the sleepover and then wake up and put it back on. That was a classic. A kid's classic.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much for your support, Starkiller.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm glad, Leo, you've joined. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for your stuff.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
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 Oh, speaking of well-timed. I don't know why you had to shout at the end. This was just a clip from MinnFax, which is our weekly Q&A for supporters on Patreon. Every Monday, we stream for what we call the High Council, and we answer any question they have about the game industry, our past, MinnMax's future, and on the last Sunday of every month, we actually have a call-in version of MinnFax. So check out patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns, and please give it a shot. Thanks so much.